Every single day, millions of Americans use the $100 bill, but almost nobody stops to ask one simple question. Why is Benjamin Franklin on it? Because here's the strange part. Benjamin Franklin was never President of the United States, not once. Yet for more than a century, his face has remained on America's most valuable everyday banknote. Out of all the presidents, all the military heroes, and all the leaders who shaped the nation, why did America choose a man who never even lived in the White House? Was it because he helped write the Declaration of Independence? Because he was one of America's greatest inventors? Or is there a much bigger reason hidden in the birth of the United States itself? The answer takes us back to the founding of America and reveals how one extraordinary man helped shape a nation long before it became a global superpower. This is the untold story behind the $100 bill. The founding father, who wasn't president. When most people see Benjamin Franklin's face on the $100 bill, they assume he must have been a president. After all, nearly every other face on American currency belongs to one. But Benjamin Franklin was never president. In fact, he never even ran for the office. Born in 1706 in Boston, Franklin started life far from wealth and power. His father made candles and soap. As a young boy, Franklin received only a few years of formal education before being forced to work. Yet despite humble beginnings, he possessed an endless curiosity. He taught himself through books, he became a printer, then a writer, then a publisher. Before long, he was one of the most respected intellectuals in the American colonies. But Franklin wasn't content with simply making money. He wanted to understand how the world worked, and that would eventually make him famous around the globe. The man who captured lightning. Long before he appeared on money, Benjamin Franklin became one of the world's most celebrated scientists. His experiments with electricity shocked the scientific community, literally. Most people remember the famous story of Franklin flying a kite during a thunderstorm. While parts of the story have been exaggerated over time, his work helped prove that lightning was electrical in nature. This discovery led to one of his most important inventions, the lightning rod, a simple device that protected buildings from devastating fires caused by lightning strikes. But Franklin's innovations didn't stop there. He created the Franklin stove, improved eyeglasses through bifocals, developed new ideas about weather patterns and ocean currents. What made Franklin remarkable was that he rarely patented his inventions. He believed knowledge should benefit everyone. His reputation spread far beyond America. In Europe, he became a scientific celebrity. Kings, scholars, and philosophers admired him. By the time the American Revolution arrived, Benjamin Franklin was already one of the most famous men in the world, and America would soon need his talents. The Revolutionary Diplomat. As tensions grew between the American colonies and Great Britain, Franklin emerged as a powerful voice for colonial rights. When revolution finally erupted, the young United States faced a massive problem. Britain possessed one of the strongest militaries on earth. The colonies needed allies, they needed money, and they needed international recognition. So America sent its greatest diplomat, Benjamin Franklin. In 1776, Franklin traveled to France. At the time, he was already 70 years old. Many men would have retired. Franklin instead took on one of the most important missions in American history. His goal was simple: convince France to support the American Revolution. And somehow, he succeeded. French weapons, supplies, troops, and naval forces became critical to America's victory. Many historians believe that without French support, the revolution might have failed. Franklin's diplomatic achievements helped secure American independence. He wasn't fighting battles on the battlefield, he was winning them in royal courts and negotiation rooms. And in many ways, he became one of the architects of the United States itself, building a new nation. After the war ended, Franklin's work was far from over. He helped shape the foundations of the new nation. Franklin participated in the Constitutional Convention of 1787, the gathering that created the United States Constitution. At 81 years old, he was among the oldest delegates in attendance. Despite political disagreements, Franklin consistently pushed for compromise and unity. He understood that the survival of the new republic depended on cooperation. His influence extended beyond government. He helped establish libraries, hospitals, educational institutions, and civic organizations. Many of the ideas Americans take for granted today were championed by Franklin centuries ago. He wasn't just helping create a government, he was helping create a society. By the time of his death in 1790, Benjamin Franklin had become one of the most respected figures in American history. But his story was far from over, because decades later, America would decide to honor him in a unique way. How Franklin ended up on the $100 bill. So why the $100 bill specifically? The answer begins in the 19th century. During America's early years, paper money looked very different from the currency we know today. Various banks issued their own notes. Designs changed frequently. Many historical figures appeared on different bills. As the federal government standardized currency, certain individuals were selected to represent important parts of American history. Benjamin Franklin became a natural choice, not because he was a president, but because his contributions touched nearly every aspect of the nation's development. Science, education, diplomacy, government, innovation. Few Americans had influenced so many areas. By the early 20th century, Franklin's portrait became firmly associated with the $100 denomination, and over time, that connection only grew stronger. The $100 bill became one of the most recognized pieces of currency on Earth, and Franklin's face traveled with it, across countries, across continents, across generations. The symbolism behind the choice. There is another reason Franklin fits perfectly on the $100 bill. Benjamin Franklin represented something deeply American. Self-made success. He wasn't born into royalty. He didn't inherit great wealth. He didn't come from a powerful political dynasty. Through intelligence, hard work, curiosity, and determination, he built an extraordinary life. That story became part of the American identity, the belief that people can rise through effort and innovation. Franklin embodied those ideals. He was an inventor who solved practical problems, a businessman who understood commerce, a thinker who valued education, and a leader who helped create a nation. In many ways, placing Franklin on America's highest commonly circulated denomination wasn't just about honoring a historical figure. It was about honoring the values he represented. The modern $100 bill. Today's $100 bill contains some of the most advanced security features in the world. A blue security ribbon, color-shifting ink, watermarks, microprinting, and other anti-counterfeiting technologies. Yet, despite all these modern upgrades, one thing remains unchanged. Benjamin Franklin still occupies the front. Generation after generation, Americans continue to recognize his face. For many people around the world, Franklin has become almost synonymous with money itself. In movies, television shows, songs, and popular culture, stacks of $100 bills are often simply called Franklins. Few historical figures have achieved that level of recognition. especially one who was never president. Benjamin Franklin's place on the $100 bill isn't an accident. It's a reflection of his extraordinary impact on America. He helped unlock the secrets of electricity. He improved daily life through invention. He secured crucial alliances during the Revolution. He helped shape the Constitution. And he played a vital role in building the United States. Most people remember presidents, but America chose to place one of its greatest builders on its most famous banknote. A reminder that leadership doesn't always come from the Oval Office. Sometimes it comes from ideas, from innovation, and from a lifetime dedicated to making society better. The next time you see a $100 bill, take a closer look. Because the man staring back isn't a president, he's Benjamin Franklin. And his story is one of the reasons America exists today. If you enjoyed this documentary, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Decoded History for more fascinating stories hidden inside everyday objects, historical mysteries, and the events that shaped our world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.